I wanted to give you a tour of my classroom as it's set up now for virtual learning. So we are in virtual learning until at least Labor Day. So my classroom is only set up for me to use for virtual teaching. So there will be no students in the classroom until after Labor Day at least. We have not received any guidance from our district regarding classroom setup for in-person learning. So again, the classroom is now set up for me to use for virtual learning. So the students will not arrive until at least Labor Day or later. And so when we get additional guidance from our district on classroom setup, then we'll make changes for in-person learning, and we'll do another tour and another blog post to show you what it looks like once it's set up for in-person learning. So now I'm going to give you a tour of the classroom as it's set up for virtual learning, which kicks off on August 4th. So same classroom. As you enter, we've got our wall, which is usually going to be covered with student work, which will hopefully be the plan soon. We have our bookshelf, and it's stocked with books for back to school. And this year I'm making this collection of books more inclusive, as I am all of my classroom libraries. So it's a much different back to school bookshelf this year, which I'm very excited about. And then you can see our classroom library. And so again, once we're back to in-person learning, some of this may look different or change. As we get official guidance, we'll make those changes and share as we learn more. So as you walk in, you'll notice the student cubbies. I'm already preparing for individual supplies this year because we know we won't be sharing supplies. So they've got their boxes and their clipboards ready to go. And I'll give you a quick little tour of the room, and then we'll walk around and I'll give you some details. So again, the classroom is set up for virtual learning only. Once we receive guidance about in-person learning, we'll make changes and we'll be sharing that information with you. So here's the small group area, which I will be utilizing for virtual teaching. We will be doing office hours, one-on-one instruction in small groups. So that will happen from the small group area. The chairs, the stools are from Amazon. Behind, I've got my drawers. So those are all labeled so I can keep everything organized. Again, more cubbies with pencil boxes and clipboards. This is usually an area that we use for centers. I'm assuming we won't be doing centers the same way this year. So this area and how it's used will be utilized differently, I'm sure. And then some pictures of the family, of course, the Mr. and Jason and Adeline. And then you can see we added some blue this year. So we normally we have green and orange. This year we added in some blue. So you can see all of that. So really, this is the area that will be used the most in the classroom. So this will be my virtual teaching area. So I've got the writing chart, the easel, we've got our smart board, I've got the laptop, I've got the tripod set up for cameras, we've got our document camera. The shelf is from National Business Furniture, NBF. The cart that you see is from Alive Studios. So those are all going to be great tools for teaching virtually. So this is kind of my virtual teaching studio. So most of the instruction for virtual teaching will happen here in this area. And then, of course, we have, under the smart board, we still have our stage, which will probably be used during virtual teaching because I still plan to wear costumes and sing and dance and dress up and dance and have a good time. So what you see me doing in the classroom with my students is what's going to happen virtually. It's just going to be me doing it in the classroom and the kids doing it at home. So this is normally our community supply area, which obviously isn't being utilized for virtual teaching. And once we return to in-person instruction, will probably be off limits or changed depending on our guidelines. And again, just a glance around the room. Again, none of this area will be used for virtual teaching, but I will be using this area. So this is our comfy, cozy read aloud area. So I do plan to utilize this area for virtual teaching because I do plan to do read alouds with the kids every day. even if I do want a live read aloud, I still plan on also recording some additional read alouds and sharing those, and those will be recorded here. So this area will get used. Then you can see in the back we have our sink, our math centers, closet, bathroom, literacy centers, but again, probably won't be utilizing those because of restrictions. And again, once we know the district requirements and the district rules for the classroom setup for in-person learning, we will be changing the classroom. But I wanted to come in and get it set up for a couple of reasons. Number one, the kids can now see their classroom. And even though we're not here in person together, it's still our classroom. And so hopefully by them seeing the classroom and seeing it set up, it will help with that learning. It'll make it a little more authentic, even though it's virtual. So that will also help that sense of community as well. But also I wanted it set up for me so that I would have a place to teach virtually. And so it just makes it feel more like school, the classroom, feel like teaching and learning. And so that's why we wanted it set up. But really I wanted the kids to have this space to see me in, to see every day, to build that sense of community and to give them a little bit of normalcy as possible. And then when we do return to in-person learning, this will be something that they're very familiar with, and it will help that transition. So I'll give you just a quick scan around the room again. We've got our name chart, so you can see the name chart. So just like always, that will be there for virtual learning. We've got all of our decorations. Like I said, we added some blue this year, so you'll notice a little bit more blue in the classroom. We've got all of our lighting going. The lighting will be utilized during virtual teaching. We still will do dance parties. They'll just be virtual dance parties. And so, like I said, as much of what I do with my students regularly, normally in my classroom, I will be doing that, just doing it virtually. So you will see me in costumes. You will see us using lots of songs and lots of dancing and lots of interactive strategies. It'll just look a little bit different. We'll be interacting through a screen, but what you see me doing in my classroom is how I plan to teach virtually. And then here's the view from the small group area. You can kind of see down the hallway.